Greetings, the world of the internet. I am the great Matthew Squeak, and welcome to Squirrel Talk at the Movies. The grand trilogy of the Panda comes to a close in its exciting conclusion. I greatly enjoyed both movies prior, and the thought of a third movie definitely piqued my interest. That was until I began viewing the trailers. Slowly my interest in the movies began to dwindle, as the quality appeared to be taking quite the nosedive. So, will it be as awesome as its predecessors, or will it end on a sour note? Let's find out. The plot. That cliffhanger at the end of the second movie comes to a head when Poe's father comes looking for his son, urging him to return home and learn the ways of the panda. And it's a complete mess. Imagine taking the first two movies, adding in 3 gallons of slapstick, pouring it into a blender, and putting it to full power. The story is now completely full of mindless slapstick that distracts from the main plot and wastes time. Not only that, but the moral of the story completely contradicts the second movie. The second movie was not mattering where you came from, but what you made of your life. Well, screw that! This movie is all about going back to your roots and finding out where Poe came from because that's what matters now. Meanwhile, a villain of ancient times comes from somewhere to exact his revenge for some reason. Compared to other villains prior, this guy is extremely lacking. He's not cool. His fighting style isn't that impressive, and his plan leaves much to be desired. Characters. Poe and the other characters are indeed the same characters we've seen in the previous movies. The only complaint is the amount of slapstick and one-liners the characters are dishing out in this movie. Much more than their other movies. Of the new characters, the only ones with enough screen time worth mentioning are the villain, who I've already talked about, and Poe's father, who is the typical fatherly figure, just Poe-flavored, with all his quirks, which having 2 Poes on the screen just equals minor annoyancing. Design. I was not that impressed with the overall set. It had this something's missing kind of feel to it. But I will say that the scenes in the spirit realm were impressive. A point to a bit of laziness is the fact that they used recycled footage from the previous movies multiple times. Never a good sign when a movie has to use recycled footage. It's lazy and uncreative. The most noteworthy is when the fatherly figure, Poe's father, has a flashback. He's not even in the flashback he is having a flashback of. It's just recycled footage from the second movie. And it doesn't make sense. Overall, standing alone, this movie wouldn't be the worst movie I've seen. Nor is it all that bad. What makes this a bad movie is that it has to be compared to the other Kung Fu Panda movies, which it's not even close. Excessive slapstick, pointless characters, and an unimpressive villain really distract from the movie, leaving the plot rather bare and dull. Multiple times did I find myself tapping my paw, waiting for a scene of slapstick to end, just to endure a dull story barely pieced together. With that, I'm afraid to say that Kung Fu Panda 3 is definitely not worth your time. It's a bitter, disappointing end to a trilogy that had been so awesome in the past. And now for a moment with previews. Same preview, still interested. This preview is entirely hilarious. I am definitely looking forward to this one. Most of the same images as before, but this time, it's really starting to show just how bad this movie is going to be. Eddie the Eagle is one of those feel-good sports movies, and it's one of those previews. You know the ones, the kind that summarize the entire movie. Still might be good, though. Trolls. Now, in order to fully explain my thoughts of this movie, we must have a look for ourselves. Dumb, stupid, lame,
Lots of fun.
boring.
Just delightful. They're delicious.
This movie can go either way. I am the great Matthew Squeak, and this is Squirrel Talk at the Movies.